There is something about highways at twilight that makes them feel unreal-like. The world is holding its breath. The sun had already begun its descent when I found myself driving through that stretch of road. It was one of those highways that doesn't show clearly on maps, a thin gray line threading through miles of forest and abandoned farmland. No streetlights, no houses, no phone signal, just cracked asphalt, tall grass bending in the wind, and a sky bruised purple and orange. I had driven this route dozens of times before, always with the same unease curling in my chest. It wasn't fear exactly, more like the sensation that the road was watching you drive through it, waiting. That evening, the air felt heavier than usual. The radio crackled with static, cycling endlessly between dead stations. I turned it off. Silence felt safer than voices cutting in and out like something trying and failing to speak. That's when I saw them. A figure stood on the shoulder of the road, half lit by my headlights. A hitchhiker. I slowed instinctively. They looked normal. That was the strange part. No dramatic gestures, no frantic waving. Just standing there calmly, thumb raised, head slightly tilted as if listening for something I couldn't hear. They wore a dark jacket and jeans, clothes that didn't stand out at all. Their face was pale, but unremarkable. No scars, no visible injuries, nothing that screamed danger. And yet, something was wrong. I couldn't place it at first. Maybe it was the way they didn't react when I slowed down. Most hitchhikers step forward, show relief, smile. This one simply waited, as if they already knew I would stop. I told myself I was overthinking it. Long drives did that to you. The isolation, the quiet it messed with your head. Against my better judgment, I pulled over. The hitchhiker approached the passenger side and opened the door without asking. "Thanks," they said softly, voice calm, almost distant. "Where are you headed?" I asked. "Just down the road," they replied. "Not a destination, just a direction." I should have driven away right then. Instead, I nodded and merged back onto the highway. For the first few miles, everything felt ordinary. They stared out the window while I drove, occasionally glancing at the dashboard lights as if fascinated by them. I tried to make conversation where they were coming from, how long they'd been waiting, but their answers were vague. "I've been walking a while. I don't remember exactly. I think I missed my stop." Each response slid past logic without quite breaking it. The road stretched endlessly ahead, the trees forming a tunnel that swallowed the remaining daylight. Shadows thickened. The sense of isolation deepened. Still, nothing happened. That was the most unsettling part of all. It happened in a moment so small I almost missed it. I glanced into the rearview mirror. Just a reflex. A habit, and the passenger seat was empty. For half a second, my brain refused to process what my eyes were telling it. I looked again, harder this time. The seatbelt hung loose. The door was still locked. The window was rolled up. The hitchhiker was gone. My foot slammed on the brakes. The car skidded slightly before stopping dead in the middle of the highway. My heart hammered so violently I could hear it in my ears. "No," I whispered. I twisted in my seat, scanning the back seat. Empty. I checked the passenger door handle, still locked from the inside. The dashboard showed no alerts. No door open warning. Nothing. There was no sound, no movement, just the hum of the engine and my own ragged breathing. I replayed the last few seconds in my head. I hadn't slowed down. I hadn't stopped. There was no thud, no scream, no sound of a door opening, It was impossible. A cold wave crawled up my spine as the realization settled in. Something had been sitting beside me, and now it wasn't. Silence on an empty highway is different from silence anywhere else. It presses in on you. I sat there for what felt like minutes, afraid to move, afraid that if I turned my head too quickly, I might see something where the hitchhiker had been. The seat seemed wrong now, too empty, like a missing tooth and a smile. I swallowed and forced myself to breathe. "Get it together," I muttered. I stepped out of the car. The night had fully claimed the road. My headlights carved narrow tunnels through the darkness, illuminating only fragments of reality. The trees beyond the light seemed closer now, leaning inward. I called out, "Hey!" My voice echoed briefly, then vanished. There was nowhere the hitchhiker could have gone. No paths, no buildings, just endless forest and ditches too steep to climb unnoticed. Still, I searched. I walked up and down the shoulder, flashlight shaking in my hand. I checked the road behind me, expecting, hoping to find footprints, torn fabric, anything. There was nothing. The air felt colder now. Not temperature cold, but empty, like something had been removed from it. I returned to the car and sat behind the wheel, hands trembling. Logic tried to reassert itself. Maybe I was exhausted. Maybe I hallucinated. Maybe there never was a hitchhiker. But then I saw it. A faint indentation on the passenger seat cushion, as if someone had been sitting there. My dash cam light blinked softly. I pulled the memory card later that night, watched the footage frame by frame. The hitchhiker appeared exactly as I remembered. They sat quietly. They never moved toward the door. They never opened it. And then between one frame and the next, the seat was empty. No glitch. No distortion. Just absence. I showed the footage to others. They watched in silence, then avoided my eyes. No one had an explanation. Some suggested a prank. Others said I was lucky. None of them drove that highway again. I still do. Or rather, I used to. After that night, every road felt different. Familiar routes became unfamiliar. Long drives filled me with dread. Every empty seat felt like it was waiting to be filled. I stopped picking up hitchhikers. I stopped driving at night. Sometimes, when I'm alone in the car, I feel it, that same pressure, like someone is sitting beside me, just out of sight. I never look because I'm afraid of what might be there, or worse, what might vanish again. Later, I learned about the stories: the vanishing passenger, the hitchhiker who disappears without a trace, the spirit that relives its final journey over and over. Some say they're ghosts, others say they're echoes, memories of people the road refused to let go of. This highway has a history: accidents, missing persons, names that appear in old newspapers and then disappear, just like my passenger. Some mysteries don't want to be solved. Some things don't want to be remembered. And some simply vanish, leaving behind nothing but an empty seat and the certainty that reality is far thinner than we like to believe.